So David Goggins, I think, has joined the Sean Strickland versus the Navy SEAL saga, and I don't know if they're actually serious about this, but I would actually like to see this sparring match of David Goggins versus Sean Strickland because I want to get a few things out of the way. I don't devalue Navy SEALs or their training or anything. In fact, if you are, serving your country and you're, signing up to be a Navy SEAL, one, being a Navy SEAL to begin with, it's not easy, but also, you know what else is not easy? Being a UFC champion. Now, obviously, if I can make a really good analogy to compare them, obviously, Navy SEALs is like being on Skyrim and having plus skills in most areas. You're a jack of all trades, but are you a master of any of them? You're probably a master of a couple, but obviously you're going to have a little bit other skill sets than just hand-to-hand, whereas when you're fighting MMA, that's all hand-to-hand stats, dude. If, Sean Strickland was a Skyrim character, he would have his hand-to-hand stats maxed out 100 out of 100, all perks, everything like that. He'd probably be the one that would punch a giant and send it launching into the stratosphere via game glitch, just because he would break the game because he's so good. So, obviously when I'm seeing a Navy SEAL get in the ring and fight in Sean Strickland's world where he is the master of that realm, obviously I see Sean Strickland winning, not shocked at all. Obviously I do recommend that Navy SEALs always train hand-to-hand because, you never know when combat's going to involve you not having any weapons and you're going to need to defend yourself with your hands straight up. Obviously they do. Obviously they take that into account. Obviously they take strength and conditioning into account. But honestly, I think, if Sean Strickland wanted to, he could be a Navy SEAL after seeing what I've seen, because if he could, probably take on some of the ice baths and saunas that they're probably throwing at him in MMA training, if he were to go into Hell Week or something like that and take on some of those challenges that they have just to make sure that the Navy SEALs could withstand elemental pressure without breaking, I definitely think that he could get that done too. However, that's how I stand on the balance. I usually don't get too involved in the whole military versus MMA thing because everything has its place. Everything has its skill set. Obviously, I look at it as just banter. But when David Goggins gets involved with this, and basically wants to step up and face down Sean Strickland, I kind of want to see that happen. I'd obviously have to put my prediction towards Sean Strickland just because obviously Sean's dispatching Navy SEALs and everything like that. And, David Goggins is no punk. And David Goggins, obviously, you see some of his clips, and as long as, if they're as long as they're legit, he seems like he himself would be a very effective MMA fighter. But the thing is, he's more endurance-based, where I think Sean Strickland would just kind of bulldoze through David Goggins in that sense. But I think we're just looking at, all these stats and everything like that. I don't know. I don't know. If David Goggins were to fight in the UFC, how do you think he'd do? I don't know. I think he'd honestly have a couple victories here and there. And who knows? He might even make it with a ranking next to his name. Do I think he makes it as a champion? I don't know. I think this is all just speculation. It's really hard. I don't know if he has an MMA record or not, but he could start. And I think his first name could be like an open weight against Sean Strickland just to see how that goes down. Because I know David Goggins was helping Tony Ferguson with his Paddy Pimblett thing. But, if there's one thing about MMA, training, it's more than just doing Hell Week and seeing how much you can endure and stuff like that. Because, whether or not you think Tony's past his prime or not, Tony obviously is past his prime. I don't think that Hell Week really helped him in that Paddy Pimblett fight. Now, was that going to change how Paddy Pimblett performed? Probably not. But honestly, I'm going on enough of this. But if you were to tell me right now, if they were to actually set up this fight, Sean Strickland versus David Goggins, whether it is in a UFC octagon with an announcer or it's just in the back of a gym with some cameras rolling, just like Sean Strickland did with Sneeko. Obviously, I feel like David Goggins would do better than Sneeko, but obviously I think Sean Strickland beats both of them 10 times out of 10. That's just my humble opinion. But, obviously this isn't the most serious video. This is just speculation on how that would be, daydreaming, I guess you could say. But it's a good fantasy matchup. Who would have think? And obviously, if you would want to like bet money on an upset, I would bet on David Goggins because I'd have David Goggins as like a plus 800 underdog or something like that. But, I think that's enough daydreaming for the day. I actually would like to see if they could get this fight together just so I could see the ending result. But I watched that this morning, and I just kept thinking about that. I was like, man, David Goggins, is he serious about fighting Sean Strickland, and where would this go? But that's my 2 cents on it. I really honestly hope we get to see some backyard footage of that fight go down because I would love to see that. Peace out.